Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to build collaborative relationships? Have you ever thought about the mindset shift that's required or the new beliefs you need to adopt to make collaboration work? We've all heard it before. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, take others. This conversation is for you. If you want to know what it truly takes to develop a collaborative mindset, so join me today as I sit down and I peel back the onions on what it takes to happen, what really is necessary to build collaborative relationships that are designed to build impact that you truly desire. Welcome to Social Media Saturdays. I am your host, Taria Hodge, and this is a place where you come to serve, share, and shine. And each Saturday, what I am committed to doing is sharing real strategies designed to fuel your business, capture your authentic message, and position you as an influencer in the marketplace. So, who's out there with me this morning? So, if you are out there this morning, you are tuning in, you are watching, you are joining, do me a favor, drop a comment in the comment section and let me know, Taria, I am right here with you this morning. We are about to have an amazing conversation. I have a special guest today. And as you join the broadcast, let us know where you are watching from. So make sure that you drop your city, you drop your state, where you are tuning in from, or if you are watching from across the globe, let us know what country you are tuning in from. And like I do every episode, make sure you share with us who you serve in your business, how you serve in your business, and how we could connect with you. Because this is one of the things that I absolutely love about our time together. This is our opportunity to virtual network. So we'll never know who you serve and how we could connect unless you tell us. Okay. So as you come in, make sure that you let us know where you are watching from and where you are tuning in from. And I see that Natasha is out there this morning. Great morning, Natasha. And Natasha is tuning in from Baltimore, Maryland. Welcome, Natasha, to Social Media Saturdays. Do me a favor, my dear. Make sure you drop in the comment section who you serve and how we can connect with you. All right. And like I mentioned today, we're going to have an amazing conversation. We're going to talk about the three things that you need to believe before collaboration could happen. So how many of you out there desire, like I said, to build your business and collaborate and do more with others? But here's the thing. It kind of seems like there's a little, struggle in that area. So how many of you are struggling, to find collaborative partners? Okay, people to journey with. And if that's you, just go ahead and drop a comment and then let us know. So today I have the pleasure of sitting down with our special guest, and our guest is no stranger to the show. Now, one of the things that I love about her, is that her work is influenced by her training in leadership, cultural competency, and issues related to power and privilege. But what I also love is that she uses her 7 mindset mastery principles to help her clients develop mindset mastery and personal leadership. So once again, I'm no stranger to this show. Please help me welcome the Mindset Mastery Mentor, my Mindset Mastery Mentor, Suzan Hart.
Good
Great
morning,
morning.
Tria.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing awesome this morning. I am so excited for this conversation that we're about to have, because I think this is like one of the most asked questions about our relationship and how we work together. So people always seem to ask us, how do we make it work? How do we make the collaboration work? Right.
Mhm.
And I thought it would be fitting for us to unpack the conversation today, because we are in the middle of a launch, right? So these are the
Yes, we
things
are.
these are the things that people want to know. Like, oh my gosh, how do you number one, find the right people that you can lock arms with. That's what I call it, locking arms. And then when you are up to big things like putting your programs out there, into the marketplace, how do you know that you have found the right persons to do that with? And I'm just gonna kind of frame this up a little bit, right? And so when we talk about collaborations and we talk about locking arms, I remember a few years ago, I was asking myself a question, right? And the question that I started to ask myself is, what is required for me to get to the next level of my of success, right? To my
Mhm.
next level. And and it's such a beautiful question, right? And as the more and more I asked that question, things started to unfold. And one of the things that I realized is that I was journeying alone.
Mhm.
So I knew a lot of people, but did I really have, relationships where we were committed, to working, together, and not just committed to working together. I like how you put it, committed to each other's win. And
Mhm.
so I started to focus, on that. Okay. And then is almost like when you ask for something, then it shows up, right? Hence the opportunity for me to get to know you better and then work deeper with you. And
Mhm.
so it's that stuff. And I see it in the marketplace all the time. People are doing things, they're looking, for partnerships. They might be in the middle of promotions themselves and they're looking at other people, to lock arms with to make their endeavor a success. And it seems to, be a little struggle, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to just come on here today and kind of like do like a behind the scenes and pull back, the curtain of what it truly looks like with us working together. Okay. And so for you, the first thing that I'm going to ask you, which is the thing that people ask me all the time, like how did you guys know that you were a fit, that you were a great fit? So when you start to take a look at people to collaborate with and journey with, what are some of the things that you look for in a
That's
collaborative partner?
that's a great question, and I think it's interesting because people think that you go into relationships, wanting to collaborate. So it wasn't like I sat down with you and said, "Let's collaborate." I don't think the collaborations that have worked really well. I don't think I've ever done that.
Mm,
And so I think part of what the missing is often is is the question, are you willing to invest the time to develop the relationship, to see if you have alignment, to see if you have synergy, to see if you're on the same page, those sorts of things. So for me, one of the things when I'm out networking, I have this concept. I'm not out there to get leads. I'm out there to build relationships. And my goal is to walk out of a room with a connection with an individual that I can start to develop and foster a relationship with. And I look at relationships as kind of like friendships, uh, um, something I want to nurture, something I want to pour into, and that's where I start. And so one of the things that I learned early on was to know what were the character traits of my ideal person
mm,
if I wanted to have a relationship. So I actually have this mental list in my head of the character traits of that person. So when I'm out, I'm really looking for do we have a relatedness? Can I am I open to developing a relationship with this person?
mhm.
And what's interesting is once I committed to these character traits and I knew what they were. So for some of mine is open and honest communication, integrity, fun.
Wow.
I see Yetadeka out there, and that's one of our ones.
Good morning,
It's
Yetta.
gonna be fun or go home sort of thing. Fun is another one. A heart of service is another one. So I collaborate with givers, And that's a real key in terms of my own learn about who I be in the world. And so I have this list of I collaborate with solution focused people, people who are positive, people who like adventure, they love growth. So there's this definite type of person I want to be in relationship with. So that's the first step. And once relationship begins, it's do we have value alignment? Do we
Yeah.
have the same values? Do we have synergy? Do we click? Do we work together? Are we in the same kind of energy in our business? I'm looking for that natural beingness that we come together. But my first thing is taking time to develop and, as you know, as my mom would say, season the relationship. You
I love
know?
that. Let it marinate.
Yeah, let's season the relationship.
But yeah, it's so key, right? And one of the things that, even in us having our conversations and unpacking, this, thought about collaboration and journeying together, one of the things that it helped me to definitely do is shift my focus in how, I connect, or what am I going after, when I connect. So a
Mhm.
lot of times, we've been taught, like when we do, the networking, the virtual networking, because that's the space that,
Yeah.
most of us are in now, but even in person. So how many times do we show up, in a thing where we want to just go out there and hack our wares, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I know I'm supposed to be networking, and I'm supposed to, collect leads, and, I'm going to get on the phone, and this is the opportunity, for me to, push my products and my services. And it's kind of unlearning that. Yes,
Mhm.
we still share how we serve in the world, but it's being able to let relationships develop naturally.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found, when you approach it this way, you definitely see more opportunities. So, I've noticed that I've started to meet people who might not be, the direct, user of my products and services, right? But they might have a network of people that I serve. We serve the same people. So how
Mhm.
can we come together and put that solution out into the marketplace that creates a bigger win for the people that we serve? And that's one of the things that, I get so excited, like thinking about it,
Mhm.
because we've created, that journey. So when we
Absolutely.
sat down and we took a look at how, we were working together with each other first, was just like, oh my gosh, Suzanne, if I need this, do you know how many other people out there need this? And you said the same thing. Oh my God, Taria, this is the missing.
Mhm.
So we came together, to put, an awesome and amazing program into the marketplace,
You
you
know,
know?
we did, but I want to roll back a little bit because I want to
Mhm.
talk about the seasoning of the relationship for a moment,
Yeah.
like because I think it's key. And when you and I go out to network and we're networking from a relatedness, a relationship point of view, it allows you to have a Rolodex of diversity,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not looking. I don't go out looking for my ideal client, someone who's going to use my services. I go out looking for true connection,
Mhm.
right? True connection. Who are the people in the space that I connect with? Oftentimes I end up connecting with my divine client because they're looking for me, so there's often that synergy. However, once that happens, one of the things when I talk about seasoning the relationship is also observing who the other person be and
Mm.
how they walk through the world. So even for me, when I watch people network, if you're going to come in and drop your business card, try to hawk your wares, I know I can't collaborate with you. We're like, because we don't have the same flow in the
Yeah.
space in terms of how treat people and are wanting to have a depth of a relationship with someone. So even I'm out there and I'm networking and I'm developing relatedness with people in relationship, there are people I have great relationships with. I can't collaborate with them. So a big part of it is me kind of observing the person and seeing if there's an ease and flow to which we connect with,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Or do I have to work at it? Do I have to does how some things occur make me uncomfortable? You can watch someone sell and go, ooh, that's not me,
Yeah.
right? And so there's all those things that how someone shows up in their world, their business. Collaboration isn't about changing someone. In my mind, collaboration isn't about making them do what they do differently. Collaboration is a union of two individuals coming together because they know what they bring, two whole and complete beings. What happens when they come together is magical, and will create more. So it's not about change, shifting. It is about growing, which is two different things. But the core of who they are and how they exist, it requires time to observe those things and to feel it out. And so part of where collaboration falls down is most people don't want to invest that time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's so good that you said that, right? Because like I said, these are the conversations in the marketplace. And what I see a lot of times, and also been a part of, I have to say, it's, those, how do you put it? Those short-lived things. Okay, so people would think of others when they specifically have the thing to do, the thing that's on the table,
Hmm.
right? But outside of that, like the collaboration is non-existent.
Right.
Only when these things pop up, and so then we find that there's a rub. Okay, because we truly didn't give ourselves enough time, like you said, to learn the other person.
Yeah.
What are their traits? Do you see the character traits? Do you understand how they work? Do you fully trust in their work,
Hmm.
right? And I think that those are like the tough things. So to be able to look at relationships just like how you would look at personal relationships, you look at relationships in this space the same way,
Yeah,
and then you
absolutely.
give them time
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
develop. So I
Yeah.
love the seasoning
Don't
of the
don't go don't
relationship.
go don't go getting married before you date a little bit.
People do
Yeah,
that.
I'll date a bit.
All right. I see Yetta is out there this morning. Yetta is saying the seasoning of the relationship. She was just running through her head. Great morning, Yetta. Thank you so much for joining. And I see that Sean Hill is out there this morning. Great morning, Sean. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. And so I want to ask another question because I think we just touched on it, but I want to go a little bit deeper, right? So
Mhm.
when we take a look at the beautiful superstars that we choose to collaborate with and the super achievers that we collaborate with, what really makes that collaboration great? What makes it sing? What makes it the thing that you are excited about going to work and rolling up your sleeves? What is that for you?
For me, it is I think part of it is a value-based conversation. In that one is we all have almost everyone I work with, we have very similar values.
Hmm.
And we do different things. We are very different people. We may walk through the world differently. However, when it comes to values, we are all often guided by very similar things. And so it's easy to the do's and don'ts of a relationship are pretty clear because there's these values that we have in common. So I think that is the first thing. I think the second thing is that when you spend time exploring relationships and finding out the needs and wants and desires of people, you often come together on these commonalities. And so I joke because I tell people I know my people, and I can call them by name. I can tell them who they are: first to arrive, last to leave. They're the super achievers. They're the get it doneers. They're the bottom liners. They're the person you can depend on. They are the people who are spinning 10 plates and walking at the same time. They don't think they need sleep for some particular reason.
Stop talking about me.
Okay. That's my people. And so inside of that collaboration, whether you're a client or whether you are a someone who I do business and I collaborate, there's a knowing of who you be, because we kind of walk through the world the same way. So from a client perspective, that's kind of the stuff. From a collaboration perspective, in terms of another business, we may not align on the journey and the pains of the journey. We have totally different journeys, but we definitely have very similar values. I think because when people come together and there isn't value alignment, it becomes a conflict of ethics. It becomes a conflict of what I like to call my non-negotiables. There's certain things in business that I will not do. There's certain ways of things in life that I will not do. And so when you have value alignment, you don't have those conflict of ethics. You don't have those internal stirrings that make you feel at ease because the person you're collaborating is taking you down a path that isn't in alignment with how you walk through the world. So I think values is key. I think the other one for me is honest and open communication.
Yeah.
And my best friend and I, we have this saying that says, "There's nothing you can't say to me,"
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's nothing that you can't be in front of me. And so another way of saying it is, I love you for who you are, and I love you for who you're not. And so within that space, there's an opportunity for open and honest communication. And I was just on the phone with a client yesterday negotiating some stuff. And I said to the person, there's nothing you can't say to me. What bothers me is the missing, the elephant in the room. You can name anything for me. I can deal.
Yeah.
That's me. I can deal. I can roll. I don't like omissions though. That's a value for me. So part of it is this honest, open, direct communication that is growth oriented. So I'm not going to come to you and say stuff just to make you feel small or less than. I'm going to tell you the hard stuff, but I'm also going to pull you up at the same time. So there's this growth oriented, honest, direct conversation on a background or a backdrop that says, I have your best interest at heart. And I'm having this conversation because I know I'm committed to your better, and I know you're committed to my better. So you want the best out of me, and I want the best. That's who I want to collaborate with. So I'm committed to growing you, and I'm trusting that you're committed to growing me. To me, that's where collaboration is magical. So that's my second one. And then I think the third really big one for me is someone who is positive and solution focused. And I think they go kind of together.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm the person that believes there's an answer for everything.
Everything.
Everything, right? There's an answer for everything. There's a solution for everything. I also believe that anything in front of me is perfect. So whether it's good, bad, indifferent, wanted it, asked for it, didn't ask for it, if it's in my life, there's a purpose, or I'm going to create a purpose because it's there. And so I step into solution, and I step into, how do I expand this? How do I make lemon out of lemonade? How do I make this a great opportunity? How do I turn it into something useful? And so everyone I collaborate with, for me, the requirement is that challenges are seen as opportunities. Conflicts are seen as places that we grow from. difficult situations are made to be a journey where magic is going to happen. So it is a way of being that I look for, because that's who I be. And I've also learned that the way I walk through the world, if the other person isn't on the same page, I'm going to drive you crazy. Just
but
be.
but I love it, right? And so I think if I had to sum it up in one word, the word that I'm hearing is commitment, right? So, or
Mhm.
committed. So are you committed, right, to, the success, not just the success of the project, but are you committed to the success, the growth of, the other person, and, each other, and how do you work through, the good stuff, and I call it the juicy stuff, because it's always the opportunity to grow. And so one of the things that I said, like when we started off the top of the hour, like we're in the middle of our launch, right? And so everyone could see on the bottom of the screen, we are, getting, well, actually we're in the middle of our magnetize and monetize the virtual stage, program. And
Mhm.
it's absolutely amazing to see what this is our fourth round
Yeah.
that we are doing, and each time it keeps getting better and better. And the reason why it keeps getting better and better is because we're both calling each other, to our greatness. And
Right.
so when I take a look at, and I started to unpack it, what really makes this collaboration so beautiful and what makes it work is, number one, being able to hold the space for each other's brilliance.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's just knowing that, I have, a certain skill set and expertise, and you have, your skill set and your expertise, but our skill set and our expertise aren't in competition with each other. And so oftentimes we see that, okay? And if I'm being totally honest, it was one of the things, like very early on, that came up for me, is like the thought popped, in my head, right? And I was just like, no, if we are committed to working together, right, then why is this emotion there,
Mhm.
right? And so it's to catch, ourselves in those moments, okay? And to know, like, hey, this is the commitment here, okay?
And
So
and let's unpack that for a minute, because that goes beyond commitment. That goes to mindset, the mindset of two people coming together. And it was interesting because I was having a similar conversation
mhm,
last night, and we were talking about individuals coming together to collaborate, or individuals in the same field. And it's like the scarcity mindset. There's not enough opportunity for all of us, so I'm going to knock you over, backstab, this, that, the other, because the pie is limited. And oftentimes when people come together, it's that thing, in terms of there's limited amount of opportunity, there's a limited amount of money, so I got to make sure I get mine. And if running over someone else or pushing someone else out of the space allows me to get mine, then that's what I have to do. And that is kind of the backdrop that, unfortunately, America is socialized, not
mhm,
enough resources.
yeah,
And so for a collaboration to work really well, in my mind, and this is the world according to Suzanne, is that the two people have an abundant mindset. And
mhm,
what that means is resources are abundant. There's more than enough. And the more we come together, the more opportunities expand and grow. It's almost like there's more. And so for me, that what that means is, I know that what is meant for me is already mine,
yeah,
right?
I love that.
It's already mine. I don't have to take from someone else. It's mine. It's already mine. The people who I'm supposed to serve are my clients. They are for me. They will see me. They will hear me. When we connect, they'll be like, "That's my person." The people who are meant to serve you or to be with you are your people. So we don't have to compete for resources or opportunities. What we're required to do is to listen for each other. So I have a listening for me. I have a listening for Taria. I have a listening for Yetta because I spend a lot of time with Yetta and Ken. I have a listening for anyone who I have a relationship with who is who I know what they're committed to. Why? Because my stuff is mine. I can hear my people. I'm not going to go and attempt to make Yetta's person my person just
Mm,
because I want the resource. Because I truly believe the planet is abundant. I truly believe that the more of us that come together, it's the more opportunities
yeah.
we create. But the other interesting thing that happens is when we begin to think like that, we also see the continuum of opportunity. And what I mean
Mhm.
by that is that I may start working with someone and say to them, you need to go see Taria, and then you need to go over and hang out with Ken and Yetta, and then you got to come back and spend time with Patricia because
Yes.
that's going to give you everything you
Yeah.
need. Can I look at it from the place? Because I'm not going to try to do what Sharia does, because although I understand it, I don't do it well. That's why I hired you. I'm not going to go try and do what Yetta does because I don't have 30 years experience
Yeah.
like this woman who's killing it in her market. So I'm going to say, well, no, that's not my lane. So I'm going to pass it on. When you start doing that, what begins to happen in that circle of people, there's a trust that begins to occur.
Yes.
I remember I said the world is abundant. And
Mm-hmm.
now you have this abundance of flow because no one is threatened by someone else
Yeah.
taking. We know that we got each other. And I'm gonna prospect for you, you're gonna prospect for me, I'm gonna listen for you, you're gonna listen for me. I can't do that if I'm just focused on me.
Yeah. And that's like really what the stuff is, because as much as we like to believe that people don't see it or they don't feel the vibe, people feel the vibe, right? Off of, how people are being when they're even in the space,
Mhm.
so it's even the thoughts that we have that's running in the background, about the people that we're working with,
Mhm.
shows up. It shows up in actions, it shows up in the words, and people could feel it.
Absolutely,
So yeah, so
absolutely.
that is key, because like I said, these are the things that, I get these questions all the time. I see things, happening, and it wasn't until I for myself started to pay attention to it, I was just like, this is what's really going on here. So thank you, for unpacking the mindset of abundance, because that's what it truly is, right?
Mhm.
Is to be able to believe, because people say it all the time, right? But do you really believe it? Does it show up in your actions that the world is an abundant place, and we don't have to, climb, up over each other, to get the things that we desire. So I
Mhm.
love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another one for me that I am so enjoying in our journey is the opportunity to just work things out. Okay.
Mm.
So I'm just gonna say this, guys. So not everything we touch turns to gold the first time around.
And
Eventually,
we're not always happy with each other. Just put
we're
that
just
out
right. And so yeah, so it's the thing, right? So how do you what I look for is, when the things don't go according to planned,
there.
it
Mhm.
is how do we come back, right? And say, let first have the conversation, right? And then say, hey, what is it that we need to rejig? What is it that we need to do different? And to be able to do that, with respect, honesty, and still have the goal in mind. So
Mhm.
many times, like I said, I've seen it, been a part of it, where, something doesn't go according to plan, and everybody's in their little feelings, and then they take their ball and then they go home, right? And it really doesn't do anything for the project or the goal at hand. And it definitely doesn't do anything for us as people, for our growth individually and collectively. So, what are your thoughts, on that?
So I'm gonna go back to mindset again. I'm gonna go back to the backdrop that allows that to happen. There's this concept in mindset that's acceptance. And a lot of times when we are required to accept something that is not fun,
Hmm.
the emotions that come up aren't pleasant. I feel like I'm failing. I feel like this isn't working. We're gonna lose. All those things come up. I'm not looking good.
Yeah.
At the same time, the defense of that is blame. The defense of that is shame. The defense of that is guilt. And who can I blame? I'm feeling shame, so I'm going to blame. Who's guilty?
Hmm.
Where can I play judgment? Where can I do all these things? All that does is create division. All that does is create, it puts everybody's backs against the wall and puts everyone on the defensive. So a foundation of collaboration is to sit in acceptance. And acceptance is your willingness to, and anyone who knows me, to look at the data and let go of the emotion. So let go of
Hmm.
shame, blame, judgment, guilt, anger, frustration, da da da. And oftentimes, I know for Suzanne, I got sleep on it.
Hmm.
So I may be in my feelings and not nice. And anybody who knows, yes, Yetta, I'm having conversations in my head full blown. And I've learned to have them in my head and not let it be my outside voice. I'm working through my own emotions.
Yeah.
I got to get to a place where my maturity um, overrides my feelings and not let my feelings be the decision maker or the person's
Mhm.
the speaker for me.
Yeah.
So I work through my feelings and then I get to this place where I've cleared, I'm in acceptance. Let me look at the data and let me look at the truth of the data. From that place, I am now required to be accountable and responsible.
Mm.
Accountable for what I see and responsible for what I see. Now, for me, accountability means what belongs to me that I am required to do differently, better, grow,
Yeah.
and what might be the difficult conversation I am required to go have with someone I'm collaborating with so that we can learn, grow, and become better as a result of this situation. And so the commitment and the maturity to make that happen is what really collaboration is
Yeah.
about. Most people don't want to do the emotional work.
Yeah.
They also don't want to be accountable and responsible for the hard stuff.
Hmm.
That's leadership at its
Yeah.
absolute best.
Yeah.
I've got to lead myself and I've got to take responsibility for leading a process and being accountable for what I see. I can't sidestep what I see. I can't sidestep the data. If I have an understanding of the data, I can't sidestep. If I need information because there's a part of the data that's not working and it's your expertise, I'm going to go to you and say, let's unpack this because this is your jam over here and something's not working over here. Let's unpack it.
Yeah.
For that to work, both people, remember I said it comes back to taking the time to build the relationship. There must be trust. Trust has to be there.
Yeah.
So I have to trust you, and you're required to trust me. There must be a sound belief that you have my best interest at heart, and I have your best interest at heart. So when the hard conversations happen, they're not
Yeah.
personal as attacks. They're personal, possibly because I want to help you grow. And I have a desire and then a responsibility to hold you accountable to your greatness.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? So I love that. I love that saying, being able to hold each other accountable for the greatness, because that's what it's all about, is being able to hold fast, to the commitment to growing
Mm-hmm.
even through the tough stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes the journey so great, and that's where the real trust comes in, right? So it's easy for people to trust when everything is going all well and fine, right? But do you hold that place of trust when the picture doesn't look so good? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or like I said, you have to rejig and you have to rework stuff, right? So how do you, hold the trust in the commitment, to move forward and get things done? So I,
Yeah.
I love it. Yetta said geese. I know what that means now,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. What another one for me, right? When it comes to taking a look at what truly makes great collaboration is taking a look at contribution. Okay, and so this might be the one of the biggest things that I see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in this space, right, is I think the word that I'm looking for is the expectation, right? So what's the expectation from each other going into a collaboration, knowing that we all have different skill sets or different expertise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then showing up fully, because I was just in this conversation, I think it was not yesterday, about 2 days ago. Yesterday? 2 days ago. I was in this conversation, right? Talking about how you could feel when you're working with someone, but they're holding back,
Yeah.
right? Like they're not bringing
Their
they're not
best stuff.
playing, yeah, they're not bringing their best self, and they're not playing full out.
Yeah.
That's what I want to use, right? And it's how do you get over or move past, once again it goes back to that scarcity mindset. So how do I show up fully in this space, or am I showing up fully in this space, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about what the commitment to contribution looks like.
That is such a great question, and I think it goes. Let's roll back to taking the time to build the relationship.
Mhm.
And so for me, I know that everyone I'm in collaboration with, and I have about 3 to 4 collaborative partners that I collaborate around business.
Mhm.
What they all have in common, or what we all have in common, is a generosity to serve.
Mhm.
So before we formalized anything, we generously gave to one another uh, our expertise, and
Mhm.
and so it was like we showed up for each other in moments of need, in moments of confusion, or I can help you with that, or I got that for you,
Yeah.
sort of thing, without a monetary exchange, and then without an expectation of anything, just out of generosity of spirit. You need this, I can provide it. We have a relatedness, we have a relationship. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is none of us also exploited each other's generosity of service.
Mm.
So there's a time when you know that this is beyond someone helping me. I need to start paying for this, or we need to navigate some form of exchange, because I'm not going to take advantage of the generosity of someone. And there's that place where and so each person that I have collaborated with, we have generously given to each other. But once it starts to cross a threshold, there's honest and
Yeah.
open willingness to become a client.
Yeah.
And so those are the two things at first that when you're navigating a relationship and you're getting to know each other, there's that thing. There's also a willingness to pay premium price for people's services. So it's not like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we friends, we want my discount. Uh, and we've all probably given each other discounts, but that wasn't the expectation.
Yeah.
That wasn't the negotiation.
Yeah.
So I think there, because that's a respect of value of
Yeah.
service. That's a respect of your time is worth X. And I remember when we sat down and we did a collaboration, and I said, Taria, what's your rate? What's your value? How much time are you giving me? And let's negotiate a true, real
Yeah.
price. And I remember you were like, whoa. And because
Yeah.
it was an integrity to me respecting what you brought to the table. And we negotiated and discount, but we didn't start with what's
Yeah.
my discount. We started with what's the true price. And the other person came back and said, this is my price, this is what I can do for you. That there's a respect in that.
Yeah.
So I think that foundation is required to be there first and foremost. And then what happens when we go into formal collaboration, there's already a foundation of contribution. There's already a foundation of, I know what you bring to table, you know what I bring to table, but we have a backdrop of
Yeah.
serving each other. We understand how it works. And I think it's also, I also know now that you're willing to come 100%.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
been you've been of contribution to me when I didn't ask for it, when I didn't need it, when I wasn't maybe not in a position to pay for it, but you contributed. That foundation is what creates those powerful collaborations. I think the other part is we both watched each other do business. I mean, we both became each other's clients, but we also observed. I saw you in the marketplace. And I didn't see perfection. I saw where growth was needed, and I saw where, wow, this woman's brilliant over here. I also saw where I could serve you and said, I could help you over here. So there was that kind of negotiation and happening. And I think it was also us respecting the lanes that each person came runs in. Because when you're collaborating, you want to know that when you bring all of it to the table, that it is respected, it is trusted, it is valued, it is not second guessed. Like you're the expert.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm like, you're girl, you're that's your lane. I'm not going over there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good because I think it goes back to what we started talking about in the beginning, right? So do we create the space beforehand to
Mhm.
get to learn, okay, more about the people that we desire to collaborate with, right? To see if it's number one, a possible, and
Mhm.
then number two, what is truly required, for it to happen. And then three, are you committed, to being on the journey,
Yeah.
and so like those are the three things, that stands out for me. So I love it.
And
So
go
uh-huh.
ahead. Go, no,
No, no,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was going to say, and I want to bring this full circle to the program that we do together
Hmm.
is uh, a speaker program, and we looked at all the pieces that someone who's speaking requires. So they're required to be able to write, promote on social media, and write posts that attract people to say, "Ooh, I'm interested." They're required to command the stage and feel comfortable on video, and when they're on video, know what they need to do. They're required to be able to make an offer, close a sale, do all those things. They're also required to know what to do after the fact, how to follow up, how to nurture a client with it. There's all these pieces. Well, what we saw was these were the two expertise that we brought. I didn't have it all, and you didn't have it all. But what we knew was if we came together in our strength, we could provide a more complete package and service to our
Yes.
our prospective clients and set them up for success. So part of it was just us looking at who would benefit from the
Mhm.
us uniting. That's the first thing. I think the other thing in that is when we talk about the psychology of connecting with clients, is that I am required to understand collaboration to actually serve well in
Mhm.
terms of providing good service.
Yeah.
Because even though someone hires me, it is still a collaboration. So in the same way, I know the people I collaborate and do well with as business partners, right? I also know the clients I collaborate with and truly can serve. Who are they in the marketplace? I don't serve everybody. I serve a small group of people that have some very clear character traits and are looking for some very clear things, and they have some very clear pains,
Yeah.
right? So those are my people. And in order to serve them effectively, I have spent time digging into who they be, understanding who they are, understanding their pains, understanding their struggles, understanding their difficulties, and being able to convey that when we step on stage and actually present to a client. So when a roundabout way is when we're talking about collaboration, you and I have to understand the dynamics of collaboration, because when I take the stage and I make an offer, I'm asking you, come collaborate with me, come work with me. And I have to convey to you, this is what collaboration is going to look like, because I know you.
Yeah.
I can feel your pain. I understand. I've walked in your shoes. So part of it is the psychology behind speaking, the psychology behind collaboration, is the psychology behind a great client mentor mentee relationship, if you will.
It's such a great shift, right? Because how often have we, been taught, or we even look at our clients like we're here, then they're there. They, for the lack of not knowing how to put this any better, right? Like they need something that we have, and so it's this. But to actually look at clients like this and say, hey, we're journeying together, I'm journeying with you, and that's the commitment. And I love
Mhm.
what it has turned in, like the mindset shift on that for me has turned into, like, my business is getting the right people, right? Like those divine clients. And that's why, I talk about it all the time, right? So
Yeah.
who are you locking your arms with? Because I know how it makes me feel when I show up to serve the way that I'm called to serve. It's a totally different feeling, right? And so that way of serving, it's identifying, who are the people, for that, and we're locking arms and we're
Mhm.
journeying through that. Totally different shift. So I want to say this before we continue. I think I have one more question that we're going to unpack before we wrap it up, but I want to give our superstars the opportunity, because people have been asking. Some people have missed us last week when we did our webinar, Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage. We are doing the webinars, another round of webinars again. Okay, so I think the next one is coming up on Thursday, October the 14th. So if you would like to join us on the Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage webinar, the link is going across the screen, and it's also in the description of the video. So make sure you go ahead, click on the link, and like I said, this is for our superstars or super achievers who have now found themselves like more in a virtual world, or maybe you're now just getting back on live stages and you really want to know what it takes, to show up powerfully on stage and attract your divine clients. And so Suzanne and I, we do something very powerful. We talk about the power of story. And so we've been getting a lot of questions, around story. So do I have a story? That's one of the the biggest thing that we get. And what story do I tell? And then how to effectively use that story to create
Yeah.
that connection and engagement with your audience. And like I said, take them on the journey, to collaborating. I think I'm going to use that now. We're collaborating together. So that's what I'm doing with clients. So if you have questions, around that in your business, this is definitely the opportunity for you to join us. So once again, you could head on over to bit.ly, that's bit.ly, monetize the virtual stage, and you could go ahead and reserve your seat on our live training. We have a ball, Suzanne. We have a ball
We
on
do.
that training. People have told us they haven't experienced trainings like how we do trainings where everyone is talking about they're zoomed out, they can't spend a lot of time on stuff. We have trouble getting people off our lines.
Time to go. Time to go.
So I love it. I love it. Okay, so the last thing that I just wanted us to unpack for our superstars and super achievers, and I think we kind of touched on the skill set. So one of the skills that I know that we talked about is being able to develop the trust. Okay.
Mhm.
And so for you, what's another skill set that you would say that's needed for collaboration to happen?
I think listening.
Mm,
I think, you know, listening with an intention to to hear and understand. And so oftentimes we listen well enough to get our next point in. We listen well enough
mm,
to
mm.
to to get it to be in conversation. I think what makes collaboration work is listening for what's said, listening for what's not being said, listening for values, listening to for what's important to the other person, listening for their pain, listening for their struggle, listening for their misses. It's really being committed to listen. I like to say like your life and their life depended on it,
Yeah.
and that their life, your life, and their your livelihood and their livelihood depends on it, and a listening with a commitment to move something forward. And so I think it is a different type of listening because you're not just listening for the words,
Yeah.
right? You're listening for the energy. I mean, we had a situation where your energy was off and you were tired, and I was like, "Girl, energy's off. What's up?" And we had a long conversation. We did some
Mm,
strategizing and so on. So we're listening for the energy,
yeah.
looking for the energy of overwhelm, the language of overwhelm, and being able to say, "Let's
Yeah.
stop and and let's pause and unpack this." And part of that is because I can't see when I'm not in a good space, sometimes I can't see me.
Yeah.
I can't see who I be. And vice versa. So are you willing to listen so that you see the nuances of struggle, the nuances of overwhelm, the nuances of when someone feels lost, the nuance when someone feels not valued, the nuances of when someone feels not heard or understand? Are you willing to listen for those things and be responsible for what you hear and open up dialogue? So I think listening would be
One for
the
you.
one I would say, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think what it is for me is the self-awareness, right? Which goes back into it ties in,
Right,
right? To,
absolutely.
to what you just said. So as we go through these things, right? Are you really aware of what's coming up, for you, on the inside? Are you paying attention? Because like you said, sometimes you don't even know that things are happening, like you don't know your energy is off, right? But how do you get more in tune with self and be
Mhm.
aware of these things and then bring it to the forefront? So self-awareness is
Mhm.
also a big one for me.
Self
Okay.
self self-awareness is huge.
Yeah.
It is a big one, in terms of collaboration, because you're really asking yourself, who am I being for
Yeah.
myself and for the other
For the
person?
other person. Right. Love it. Okay. And I
Yeah,
see that Peg is saying great discussion this morning. Listen for the energy. Yetta is out there saying trust, listen with our whole being for the purpose of the other person's win. I'm still laughing at her geese.
I know.
Patricia is out there giving us claps and hearts saying, well said. Yes, Yetta, thank you so much. Great to know that you found so much value in the conversation that we had today. So, wow, Suzanne, the time just seems to fly by when we are together.
We're collaborating.
As we are collaborating. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to share with our superstars and super achievers how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. It is Suzan Hart, and just like it's on the screen, because Suzanne is spelled a little different, and Hart is the shorter version of Hart. You can find me on Facebook, and if you want to join our Facebook group for oh my gosh, I just went blank.
Unstoppable mindset for super
Unstoppable
achievers.
Minds for Super Achievers. If you want to join us there, absolutely knock on the door. You can find me on LinkedIn as Suzanne Hart. You can find me on Instagram as Suzanne.Hart. So basically, just look for Suzanne Hart. My website is SuzanneHart.com. And if anybody wants to connect with me, just send me a message, Messenger. I'd be happy to sit down with you and talk a little bit more about collaboration, or if mindset is something you're looking to explore, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to
All
sit down with
right.
you.
Awesome. And so once again, superstars, as we bring another amazing episode to a close, make sure if you are not a member of our Surf Share Shine the Givers community, make sure you head on over to our Facebook group, knock on the door, join, we will let you in. And this is where we continue to have these amazing conversations until we meet the next time. You could also find me on YouTube, Social Media Saturdays. I'm on Twitter, Social Media Saturdays, Instagram, Taria Hodge, and also on LinkedIn. If you are connecting on LinkedIn, I see that Sean is out there. Sean is a LinkedIn expert. So connect with me on LinkedIn at Taria Hodge. And so once again, if you have not grabbed your ticket for the Magnetize and Monetize, the virtual stage live training, you want to make sure that you do so. The next one that we have coming up is Thursday, October 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I am looking forward to seeing each of you there. So take care until we meet next time.